In the old times, they say, the men came already fitted with brains designed to hurtle blindly into the unknown. Designed to hurtle blindly into the unknown. Designed to hurtle blindly into the unknown.
nature and behavior of the universe. It's based on observation, on experiment and measurement, and the formulation of laws to describe the facts revealed. Formulate, 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 formulate. Truth.
Well, I was expecting this to work, but today it's not going to. So give me a second. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, anyone viewing this stream. We're attempting to do something here that has not been done before. So, I apologize if it's a bit messy. However, this is a new format we're trying to do for the ceremonies. This is February's ceremony for 2025, La Villa Bonita. We had a bit of technical difficulties when starting this up. The scripts for the music broke. I accidentally inputted the wrong ID. So, ignoring all that, let's just get started. So, these ceremonies cover a list of information that happens over the past month, compared to our breakdown we do every 2 months on the dev forums. These are transcribed into Google Docs and into TXT files for easy access, and what's so. So if people need to refer it, they can at any time get it. So yeah, but that's the gist of what this is. But for February, we did quite a bit of interesting things. With VAC's shutdown of the Senate, we finally had the opportunity to bring them over into Valhalla. Valhalla has been in project development since, I think, July of last year, June or July, when we were working for Debshu. We wanted to build a city miniature, or part of it, so it could work for the Department of Truth's library system. And so that's when that was originally started. However, plans fell through, and management did not work well, because you know how VAC is. And so we brought it here. We brought it to Chinati. So, because basically like Vyrak is dead and all of that, we are going to try to continue its efforts. I really think, that this could be done proper and well, and even a front page game. But it's just going to take a lot of work to get there, because there were a lot of problems in the past of how it worked. But it also had a lot of good things about it that also worked. Like, it had a strong community because it was a fun game. And unfortunately, management did not come through, and so we had to make that work in our own terms. So that is why it's here. Now, for all these updates, we now have a Discord, which we've been inviting people to. It's called Valhalla Civilian Network, and quite a lot of people are there, interestingly. I'm really happy about that. It's basically the central comms for how people connect, how people enter our games, and how people even get into our government. It's a directory of information, FAQs, and if you want to play the game, you have to go there. And outside of that, because we understand this is Roblox, it's a younger player base, we also have to do that, make it available outside of Discord. But if you want to work with the government and stuff at least, you have to join VCN, Valhalla Civilian Network. And props to that, we've started creating things like the VJD, Valhalla Justice Department, its subsystems for its cities, like Valhalla Teachers Association, Valhalla Police Department, and others. Per startup, we started doing VJD because that had already been established. VAC did not have an infrastructure for Vyrak's justice system, and it always came down to Legate Council banning or adding people, and this was inefficient. So, over time, a lot of people tried making something that never got authorized by VAC, so these people, taking the ideas from Whole Life, My Whole Life is a Lie, Bob 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 or Azar Chaotic, YSM, Vince Lestrade, and I believe Arias. We came up with quite a few interesting systems to work with. We have our first law code now made, which is interesting. It comes from something called Zeron that Bob and Whole Life made for the productions of Vyrak's Justice Department. Unfortunately, that never came through because, again, Legate Council doesn't like that. And like off-raising things. But it's come here, so you can view that anytime it's released finally, for how you can defend yourself in the game and whatever you do. A law code essentially is a binding document like the penal code that allows you to look at it and it's like, hey, do I have these rights? Do I not have these rights? And make sure that it's something you can take up with people if you need to. And in the process of it being in VJD, if you ever have a problem in, say, your VCN or government officials or whatever, blah blah blah, you can take these rights and say, hey, I think my rights have been violated. Here you go. Can you look at this situation? And can you look at this? It's like, point out the code, blah blah blah. And it gets resolved. There's a case-in-point procedure for operation there, which is pretty fun. It's fun because we have an operational system to begin with. We never did. But, yeah. Let me look at my points for things to talk about. VJD has been in operation and development because of them, so thank you a lot, really, to Bob and Holly, and especially the other JD panel people, such as Razy B and Blue Bay Faye. A lot of behind-the-scenes work I can't talk about there, but yeah, it's pretty good. As for the VTA, which I spoke about, Viola's Teachers Association, I want to back that up before I talk about that. Valhalla is a planet. It has 3 main cities on it. We have privatized industries, such as Viola's Teachers Association, to develop, create, and make finer arts. In a professional setting. We want these to be used in portfolios in college and other things, while we'll be able to pay the people that make these things as well. It's an ambitious goal, but I think it's one that can be done. So setting up all these systems priorhand is what we're trying to do to make a system that can run on the get-go when you run the ball and all the ads when the game launches. So there's that. In all of those kinks, Vayala is one of those systems that overarches these finer arts. We have organizations in these cities that are privatized to run them, such as the Vayala's Teachers Association, Vayala Police Department, Vayala's Actors Union, and a few other things as well that I won't be discussing because the names haven't been created yet and they're still being debated. But likewise, the way that entry works is people have to go through the VTA, for at least Viada's system, to get to these other departments. So if you want to act, you have to become a citizen, you have to have time in game, you have to be authorized and not be an alt, you have to take a class too as well to see if you're worthy. And so VTA is a gateway to that, and that's how that works. We've been setting that up for some time while we're setting up the VJD and running I'm right there, running the VJD and other systems. Whole Life has been spearheading that, and it's been great seeing it come together, with him making all of its systems, its documents, even making new kinds of formats, which are really creative and I love. And that's kind of the whole idea about this, is like, when we create all of these new systems, we're fixing the old ones, but also making them better. So that's one of the other things that's been created simultaneously while all of this is happening. On the back burner, we have something called VPD. Oh, the committee and VPD. The committee is basically our Senate. it's an inverse to the VAC system, or LC said, like, oh, if it doesn't go with LC, we can't run it. No. Development has to run to Senate rules. I believe, like, when I was in VAC, in VIRAC, everything I observed from, the Senate had a lot of good ideas, and if they weren't run into the ground, these brave ideas would be benefiting us a lot. Unfortunately, they were not, and development did not care to listen to the Senate, and they were just the Queen's monarchy, a good way to put it. They had no influence whatsoever, even though they were supposed to be running the city. So that's the inverse. They will run everything, and hopefully we have that work. It's going to be interesting. Social experiment, honestly. But I think at the end of the day, we'll keep our heads on straight. A few differences with that is every Sunday they ran their, every first Sunday they ran their, no meetings. We're doing Saturday to accommodate for more times. And the only things we'll be speaking about in these kinds of comms are public matters, because they had something like called out-of-chamber sessions, and that's what the private stuff they talked about should have been used, and they only used it, like used their public sessions the majority of the time for private matters, and that really pissed a lot of the public off. And it's like, that should just be in out-of-chamber sessions when we're not streaming or anything. So if we're talking about like important matters, we should just talk about it in chamber. And the other thing that these systems should run for are sprints. Now, if you're in the business world and understand what a sprint is, then you also know probably what Scrum is. We have an operational procedure for ideas and product work that is based off of an Agile Scrum framework, tailored to our degree, and it allows us to come together and talk about these things on a periodic piece of time. So we're going to do that, continue doing that, but I think what's weird is, like, you know how like Senate had interval sessions? That only works so well if they had like proper sprints. A sprint basically is every 1 to 2 weeks everyone gets together, discusses what happened, what went wrong, and what we can improve. And if we have an error in this, how do we fix it? What are the solutions to this? And I think that would be a monumental step in consistency, development, and production if we did this every 2 weeks or so. If this is for the get-go. If we can get to every 1 week, that's preferred. But I know, given staff and people getting into a mindset of this, it's going to be every 2 weeks. So we'll do that for the public, and then in the private. So you won't see this every third Saturday. But every first Saturday you will. That's an interesting thing. The committee, aka our Senate, and Trinity Studios will also be public. Debate on how much is public will be made, because it is also going to be internal strifes, like, oh, what if someone came out as criminal and we have to just evaporate them? Yeah, that's normal. But for as in like votes and things people want to see public, yeah, just do that. Because other systems in Roblox do that. From rare nations to even clans, like in the Grand Union of Frosteria, and Ridgeway and Mayflower. So it's very good for public transparency and trust. We want to correct that, and that's one of the things we'll be doing. There's a plan for those kinds of visuals that will be on the committee so far. Though it's not open to the public yet, it will be soon. There's a few updates we have. That's just talking about the main internal systems we've created. But outside of those, we have, for those updates, we're trying to move away from Vac's art style. So that means creating a new language, creating new formats, bettering the weight of the systems that we had before. And I think all of these previous things we've made could be reused. That's what we designed them for. And it's important that we take those and also learn from them. It's like, okay, how do we make this better? And how do we make this fit for our audience and our ability to construct a community that works together? So, while keeping public interest in doing that, one of the things we talked about was having a new language. A new written language. Like, you know how VAC has Halgon for their alphabet? We have 3 new options for that, and that's in the work, but it's pretty interesting if you've seen it. It's in our Valhalla's civilian network updates. So I can't stream, like, I would talk about it more, it's just hard to talk about because I don't have set up presets for that on OBS yet. One of the things I want to do is, like, make presets that just show everything on our screen, so, like, you don't just have me staring at you, or this Subway Surfer video on my right. Yes, that's what it's for. But yeah, that way more interest can be shown there. And you can understand what I'm talking about easier. But yeah, it has a key, and I can't show you it. It's just, it's interesting. It's very cool. Nyla and I have been working on it. Nylaris, that is. And I guess finally for Valhalla's updates, we'll talk about transcripts. We attended the Vectovian Palace event, and yesterday, and it was like really bad. But we used what we learned from there and took into practice as a new transcript. So in Deptru we had previously done transcript work for any meetings, and we were planning to make those public, but that never got finished because management fell through the floor again, as always. But now there's a public in Valhalla's system, so you get to see those finally. We took those transcripts from Vectovia and put it into a public medium of PDFs and Google Docs and TXT that are readable and easy to transport. And that's what we'll be doing with this meeting afterwards too, so that's gonna be fun. But yeah, a lot of good work, Oh, also we have, I didn't add this, but Firefly, our bot, one of our bots that will be running our systems, is an alt-checking device now. Basically, when you apply to Valhalla, it will check your inventory history, and if you have enough, it will let you in, or it will deny you, and it takes seconds. I'm really proud of it, but like, it's just, these are the kinds of things that we'll be using when developing our city. For example, if you have enough time in the planet, the city, whatever, blah blah blah, you'll be either ranked as tourist or resident, and if you're a resident, then you can apply, like if you have enough time in the game, then you can apply for civilian from the VTA, and however that goes, you can try to go for Deptru. Our Deptru currently is called Ministry of Arts and Culture. Pretty good name, it's actually literally just out on YouTube, like Roblox. Ministry of Art and Culture. Viola's Actors Union, for now. And the other Viola organizations. In the future, we do plan to have 2 other cities, one called Olympus, and one we haven't decided a name for. It starts with K. These are very polar opposites to the development of Viola. While Viola is a remake of Virak, we have Olympus being our skylining paradise, and I'm trying not to say that name because I'm being very careful of that. K. That one is basically before that whole city was built, Varric City, or Vaela City. And so it's like run down in the stone, has monsters. It's a crazed Burnland not paradise, but like society. It's gonna be very fun going there and killing monsters and things and seeing things get animated too for it in its development. There's a lot of plans in the background that I have not discussed here yet, but this meeting can only go so far, so I will be going to addressing the past. So, between our other transcripts, such as this one, the previous meetings, blah blah blah, we actually haven't done that yet. So the fact that we have one now allows me to just easily put in a format that can be regulated and developed forevermore into something that's publicly displayable. So we will be doing that as well. So the December to February recap on the dev forums, the previous ceremony recaps, all of those, yeah. The other things, including... Wait a second. Sorry, I'm trying to read my bullet points. Again, this is, yeah, a new format, so like we were going to expect inconsistencies of how we'd show things on video, but this is just how it works. Gotta dive in. So, this bullet point talks about staff members should not study and how to become really enthusiastic about things. We have every art medium covered. Voice acting, scripting, graphic, Blender, art, audio, SFX, video editing, scripting, anime, like you name it, it's all beeping covered. It's awesome! The rubric is set, we have everything we need to make these systems, and there are things that I can't show here that will be shown later, I think in a month, because one of the things about Trinati is, for now, we're putting a hold on what can be shown because it's just coming out, you know? We don't want people festering from our ideas too much yet until we're established. But there's just a lot of dev work going in there that's really exciting, and so I just wanted to talk about that. Shout out to General Crystal, shout out to Foggy Sands, shout out to Bob, Polai, Iranzi, Blueberry, Rai, Aurelius. Honestly, the list keeps going, but yeah, thank you. A lot of good work from you guys. I guess the last point of addressing this, the past, how this came to be. Well, you see like the Vax logo spinning on the bottom right. And all of these systems trying to connect with ours. I think it's imperative that we don't let thousands of hours go to waste. And all of our work be for nothing. Like Vac has treated us. They don't have a plan for Varric City. They're making it into a cops and robbers thing. They don't want a Senate. They dissolved the Senate. They don't even know what they're doing. And we have a clear and cut plan for what we want to do, what we want to create, what we want to promote, what we want to make. And it's a freaking W. Because there's a lot of good people here, and it's unfortunate that the VAC treated us that way. That's why this is being developed, and that is why all of these systems are coming together from its mispodge into a concurrent and understandable system that can be developed for decades. And what I'm actually afraid when I launch this, because like when it launches, it's gonna survive for decades, and I'm like, great, new Vactopia. I don't want to be on here the rest of my life, but like, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Oh, one last thing. This is the last bullet point, but it's this stream. We will do more of these kinds of voiceovers given the past circumstances text. So the previous videos we've done don't have these voiceovers, and so we will be doing more of those. And I think they'll be beneficial to our viewers and having it transcripted too. We might have different people do this too. It's not just going to be me in this voice channel talking and all of that. We want the committee to talk in these kinds of videos. We want actual, genuine conversations that the public can view and gather around a round table for. And I guess the way you're looking at me right now is also one of the things that's going to work for the Ministry of Arts and Culture. We had developed a uniform and several graphics for this, and so this kind of interview look of just being at a table, someone talking, blah blah blah. Nyla has developed something, a fictional character called, I forgot, it was like Griffin Vockhart. I'm abusing the name, I forgot it, but it's something like that. And we wanted to do that for state propagated media and interviews. It's like, tonight at 11 we'll be doing a story on how the bank exploded or something, I don't know. But like, and then it shows all of that. We're debating on who's going to be doing this voiceover still, too. The Aurealias, maybe even Remtic since she's back. And Rapid Socks. There's a few voice actors we have in mind there. But yeah. There's going to be more of these in the future. That's what the first of this kind. I'm probably going to turn my mic off and show you what the rest of the place looks like for now. Because we also want to showcase our updates, but we don't have presets for that in this format. Like that show Google Documents and all of that. But we can do the in-game ones, so I'll be doing that. That's all for now. Thank you for listening to my bullshit yap. Oops, just cursed. That's what it is. Yep. Bye.